I still run every day. This morning, I'm at the gym lifting at 7 in the morning before I eat Western breakfast. So it's because it's a part of life. It's a habit. And that's how you should look at everything that you do in life, your choices. It's not something that you have to do, but a choice that you make overall on what you want. And me, I know that I want to experience life, try different things. And with me, I've been lucky enough that the sports, the track and field allowed me to meet new friends, experience different cultures, live in different countries, and most importantly, come back and share those experiences with others who ask me who want to attain the same thing. And I'm not accepting or saying that everyone is going to be the next MVP of their sport, but I always say everything that you learn, no matter what, your level of athleticism is personal enrichment. That is huge when I actually speak to kids. Personal enrichment could be the person on any team who would be first person, third person, or last person. But if you gain some type of experience out of that sport, out of that experience, that's going to give you more confidence. And that's what actually makes the most important to me. Your confidence helps you decide how you make choices, what you do in life, what you're going to do, and most importantly, when someone says something to you, it's not going to faze you as much as if you have that high confidence. One thing I always speak and work with the young adults that I'm coaching, mentoring, or just having a discussion. How you feel about yourself is more important than what others may think. Because my philosophy is when I speak to my athletes, it's in my core circle, is you're always going to have someone who's not going to disagree with you. And you're going to have people who agree with you. Those people who agree with you all the time are the ones who are just giving you the simple yes. The people who disagree with you, that's a good thing because they are giving you a different opinion, a different interpretation. You don't want to surround yourself with people who disagree with you all the time. You've got to have different choices, different opinions from everyone, different perspectives. That's what I always say. We need different perspectives so that everyone has a view. Like my partner, she is completely different night and day to me. But she is the one who keeps me honest. When I say something or do something that's out of the ordinary, she calls me. Whereas I have other people, they disagree and say, oh yeah, especially when we're working. You always want to have someone who is going to make you see the part of you that no one else is letting you know. That true gut-wrenching honesty. I mean, I know you guys are like young right now, so it might be a little bit overwhelming, but when I was your age, I started making some really critical choices. When I was your age, this is when I really started looking at sports and what I wanted to do, my dreams, my aspirations. And this is where we start to just harness all these things when you're this age, figuring out what you want to do and how you're going to achieve those things. I always say that everyone has a plan. The plan may not go as you want it to do. For example, you might veer off course. But each mistake that you make in life is an experience that you're going to learn from something else. And it doesn't matter if you don't reach your plan or your goal in one different straight line, because each of those experiences is going to help you make better choices in life. Choices is the key word that I keep speaking of, because that's what each of you will be doing, making your own choices. You get older, you have to make choices, especially when you have friends around you who may have different choices or opinions from yours, who may want to do something that might be out of your comfort zone, who might want to do something that your parents might say, no, that's not something you should do. And that's when you have to think about your own choices. You definitely have people in your life that's going to just be there, talk to you, but not give you a really honest interpretation of what you feel is right. Peer pressure. That's basically what some of you guys may be going through right now at your age, because I have peer pressure, and it hasn't changed today. The biggest difference, I think, between your generation and my generation, we didn't have all the social media. We did not have social media, so everything that was happening was in real time. We did not have the type of interesting discussions or arguments that are on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or anything, because I have various discussions with my athletes based off of how they feel when someone is talking about them online, or even like someone's bullying them online. And it all comes back again to how you feel about yourself, your level of confidence. It's all about how you view yourself. And it's like when someone says you can't do something, it doesn't mean it's true. It only means that you haven't set your mind to it to achieve those goals yet. Which I always say there's nothing I can't accomplish. I was speaking yesterday, I knew at a young age what I wanted to accomplish. I knew that I wanted to learn different languages. I knew that I wanted to major in business. And I just wasn't sure where I wanted to go to college, but I knew that I was going to go to college. I just needed to figure out how to get there. And that falls on to you sometimes. You're going to have friends, parents, everyone around you trying to give you your opinion. But at the end of the day, it will be you who make those choices and decisions on what you want to accomplish. It's good to have support, but it's still going to be you making some of those choices. You guys might have talked about sports and everything all the time. But for me, sports is just a doorway or a platform to general life situations. Every sport that you play has a major, significant impact on your daily lives, on what you do. You can think about any sport and I can tie it into something that you have to tie into a life lesson from time management. I love track, and I explain track to my kids because it's breaking down to thousands of seconds. And every moment in time could be impactful for you if you don't actually follow specific guidelines and rules that you set for yourself. Everyone else is going to set rules for you. But the most important rules are going to be the ones that you set for yourself. Because I think, for me, my biggest critic is me. There's no one who can judge me harshly. And everyone else that's around you, they will judge you just a little bit, but you, deep inside, will understand that your choices, how you view yourself, is vastly more important than everyone else and everything else around you. So, any questions while I'm talking so I can take a breath, because I hate talking so much all the time. Hey, what's your question?
Mr. Maybank, what do you attribute to you being so fast, running so fast? Mr. Maybank, what do you attribute to you being so fast, running so fast?
So, I spoke about that a lot because I was really bad. So I used to do horrible things to my sister. I mean, from throwing caterpillars on them to jumping at the dark, scaring them. But over time, I grew up. I was less, I mean, I'm still bad, but just bad anyway. And it's because I was always out doing something right. Simple, quick story. I grew up in every place I needed to go to because we didn't have a car. I walked or I ran. And I think that's one of the major reasons that I attribute to the sport of track and stuff. It's because I always had to rely on myself to do things. And the sport of track makes you rely on yourself, even though as a team you're working together, especially in the relay. But individually you're running your own event. And that's why I always focus on making sure that people understand, especially the kids, that you have to rely on yourself and then refer to others to ask them different questions. But I run a lot because it's just something I enjoy, something that's a part of me, something that I couldn't imagine myself not doing. And that's why I say you need to find something that you enjoy so much that it doesn't seem like a chore, but it seems like if you don't do it on a specific time, that you're missing something in life.
What would you attribute your greatest success to? Who would you contribute your greatest success?
My mom, definitely. Biggest cheater. She didn't make it to all the meets, and the one meet that she actually did come to for Olympic trials in 1992, I bombed horribly. But it didn't matter. At the end of the race, she still came and gave me the support and said, hey, we'll just get it next time. And I wish my mom was here today so she can actually see what was going on. And one of my best and fondest memories is my mom being there and showing me and telling me about the street that was named after me. And when I went back home last time, before she passed, she gave me the sign that she had in her house. So now it hangs in my place in Delaware. So definitely my mom, strongest supporter of the reason why I am the person I am today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's an honor to meet you. It's an honor to meet you, and we'd like to find out more. You said you traveled a lot. How many languages do you speak?
Now only 2. Before I used to speak English, French, German, and Spanish. And I lived in Germany for about 2 years. My ex-wife, she's Hispanic, so I had to, and I lived in Paris for about almost 15 years, so I had to learn that language. So the language I speak now the most is just French and English.
Mr. Maybank, again, it is a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for taking the time to say hi to my grandchildren. My question is this. In Georgetown, we are a close community overall, but we are a small community compared to what's in the rest of the world. So as you have left here and dealing with the various nationalities and different cultures, what has helped you to acclimate to those cultures or get comfortable learning about and being around different people from different backgrounds?
That's a great question. For me, let me give you a different perspective on something. For example, we as Americans, we go to other countries with an expectation of this. Like when I lived in Paris, I saw this firsthand. I didn't get it until I saw it. You know, you say that people can tell you something that you're doing, but until you see yourself doing it, you never understand that you're doing it. So when I lived in Paris, there are a lot of Americans who come in and you go to a restaurant. So I'm sitting at a restaurant with 3 or 4 different friends, and their friends might be from Morocco, might be from Italy, because I always try to surround myself with different people so I can learn their culture, understand who they are. And an American family came and sat down, and the waiter came and started speaking to them to ask them what they wanted to order. And directly the person just jumps right into speaking English. What I understood from living abroad in different countries is other countries, they come to the United States and they have an understanding, the grasp of our language. So they make an attempt to speak our language. Whereas us, sometimes we go to another country and we just assume or take liberties of thinking they're going to speak English. I mean, realistically, they do, because English is known as a business language, so a lot of countries, they speak English. But it would be so much more kinder and understanding and just respectful if we took the time to try to learn something about other people, other cultures, other than ourselves. And I didn't get it until I was in another country. And what I do each time I go to another country is I completely try to immerse myself in that culture. Meaning, I go there, the first thing I do is I make a friend who wants to trade off languages. They want to learn French or English, and I want to learn their language. So they help me by just having a conversation and I have them, I have a conversation, we'll switch off back and forth, so that I understand from a real, genuine perspective what their language and their culture is like. Or like at the school where I consult, the kids there's in the 3rd year French. But when I speak to them, they don't understand a word that I'm saying. And that's a problem, because we teach other languages in a way that the country where we would like to speak the language does not actually teach it. I mean, when my kids, they lived in Paris with me for 1 year, and they picked up the language really quickly. But it's because early on they started teaching us a different language, and I think that's what is so different from here when I got back home, is that we start teaching another language when we're like in middle school or we're in high school, whereas over there, they start learning a second language when they're in 2nd grade, which is amazing. I mean, we have a great educational system, but their educational system when I was in France, it's so different that and it's free, which is crazy, but I paid a lot of taxes when I lived in France, I won't lie. But the payoff was my kids took advantage of me being there, and most importantly, they took advantage of being able to learn other languages and other cultures. My son, definitely, he took the bug, because when he joined the Navy, he loved traveling the world, whereas my daughter, she's more comfortable staying here at home. So I'm thinking that going to another country, completely immersing herself in the language, and when I learned French, I was probably in my mid-30s, but I learned the language in 3 months. And that's because I surrounded myself with people who are going to really push the language on me, push the culture on me, and make sure that I understand what's right, what's wrong. Gotta have more questions to this, guys.
Okay, Mr. Maybank, explain to us what disciplines you had to employ after you left high school that led to your achievements.
Okay. I am, as my partner, she tells me, I am really somewhat of an able person. That's a good thing, meaning I can make a choice and decision, and I'm comfortable with it, and I'll just go with it from there. When I left high school and I went to University of Iowa College, everything changed. Different culture from the people I was around to the weather that I was used to. And from there, it was like I was surrounded by people that were different from me, but I learned so much from that, and there were subsets of different cultures within the university. So from that point, I had to really understand that I was by myself, even though I was with people. So I had to get comfortable with disciplining myself to just depend on myself a lot. And the eating habits of food drastically changed. I was used to eating food here from South Carolina. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why I started eating so much fried catfish and fried flounder when I got here today, because I hadn't had it in more than 10 years, so it's familiar. So my eating habits changed, the people around me changed when I was in Iowa. That changed completely again. So in life, we all go through phases, and we go through growth, moments of growth, which is huge for us. I mean, I'm still growing now, and I'll be 53 years old in December. So when I moved from Iowa to Los Angeles, that was just a complete culture shock, because Los Angeles was nothing like I experienced, definitely coming from Iowa, because in Iowa, we're known for corn, and that's it. So when I lived in Los Angeles for maybe 4 years, and I lived in Los Angeles, so I had to figure out how I was supposed to acclimate to not only the people, because in Iowa, people just, they say what's on their mind. In Los Angeles, you had to navigate what was real, what wasn't real, and try to figure out what's the most important people to surround yourself with so that you can actually stay grounded. Everything that I did is based on me staying grounded and trying to be true to myself. Los Angeles was fun, but then I moved from Los Angeles to Paris. That was just a completely eye-opening experience. From there, I thought, before I moved to Paris, that I knew and I was comfortable around different cultures. But as soon as I got in Paris, I'm speaking to someone from Morocco, I'm speaking to someone from Italy, I'm speaking to someone from Spain, I'm speaking to someone from the different countries in the continent of Africa. And that is humbling because there was a moment where someone from Africa, he taught me a lesson about history that I didn't even know about my own country. And my friend in France, she explained to me how culture and people and changes take place from, and she always said that they have buildings in France older than my entire country, so she always used to say that all the time, which I understood because as a country, a nation, we're still young compared to some of the others. And these are points and moments of growth where I had to just figure out and be more disciplined, tolerant, and learn from other people, because at the end of the day, I always say, I walk in, people always feel that they're the smartest person in the room, and those are the ones who are not the smartest people in the room. So you have to be willing to sit down and listen to their perspective, their opinion, because there are always things I don't know. I'm not a specialist in all different areas, but I'm smart enough to surround myself with people who are knowledgeable enough to give me their opinions, and that's what we all should be open to. Not the discipline of being able to accept other people's opinions, especially if they specialize in an area and they know a lot more about specific things than we do. I say I run my company in a way that I'm not the smartest person, but I will make sure that I have access to people who can help me at a moment's notice if I make a call.
And in a few seconds after the last two adults, we're going to have children. If you have anything on your hearts, mind, and soul that you want to ask Mr. Maybank, being an Olympiad from Georgetown, we want your questions and we want to feel what's coming from your heart. And I promise you, he will give you an answer that's probably discerning, not discerning for you.
Mr. Maybank, could you explain what's going to happen on tomorrow for the children? And also, you have a couple of track meets here, and I think Mr. Rodney Smith was going to accompany you in this. May say a few words, but could you tell the kids what's in store for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow, I am humbled by the fact that the facility at the Beck Center is going to be named in my honor. So that's going to be at 11 o'clock, or actually 10 o'clock in the morning. And at that point, they'll have a whole day of celebration from, was it 10 to 2? 10 to 2. And they'll have food and just a lot of fun activities for you guys to come out. I'll actually be racing Forrest this world tomorrow. I can definitely tell you he's not going to win this race. So, because for my mindset, I always say that I will give you something, but if you beat me, I can accept it. But I'm not going to let you win. Let's see a little hand there.
I'm going to race Coach Caleb. I'll see you race Coach Caleb.
Who's Coach Caleb?
That's his track coach. He's with the rec department.
How old is Coach Caleb?
He's in his 20s.
Where is it?
This is the coach right here.
Where? Coach Dan. It sounds like take a look at you. Come outside. Let me see. Yeah, you can get that race. Only 30 minutes, I think I can take this. 30 minutes. It's only 30 minutes, I can take this. See, here's the other thing. It's how you feel, how confident you are about yourself. I mean, age is nothing more than a number that we place upon ourselves, but that doesn't dictate how much fun and enjoyment we can have in life. I mean, right now I'm still having a lot of fun and joking and enjoyment. Eating cocktail beats me. That's not gonna happen. It's just the point of just getting out and enjoying yourself, and most importantly, making sure that you guys have a good time, because that's what the whole day is about. Having fun and being with your friends and being able to come back and do it. Especially since it's a day name for myself, so that would be something that happens on a yearly basis. So that's important. I love it, and it's just a humbling experience.
Mr. Maybank, can you tell the young people how many miles you ride on your bike in a day?
So in Delaware, there is a trail. I mean, it's out on the trail. It's 8.5 miles out, 8.5 miles back. So it's easy 17 miles. I mean, it's not. I mean, when I said I ride 17 miles, people said, "What? That's a lot." I said, "No, that's not a lot, because that's 17 miles on a mountain bike. On a road bike, it goes. I ride a lot further, but it's all about your habits that you make. Right now, my habit is just to stay busy and healthy, and I would say your life is built on the experiences that you do. And right now, I am trying to stay as happy and healthy as possible. So I enjoy riding my bike, so I get out and ride my small 17 miles and come back in. Oh, I forgot about that.
Mr. Maybank, I just got a question that kind of different, because you was actually talking about how you use sports as an avenue and not as a thing. And I just wanted to know, and it's not a wrong answer, what do you value more, loyalty or respect?
Definitely respect. That is loyalty. People can be loyal to different things. They can be loyal to money, greed, and just power. But you can not really like someone, but you can respect them. And loyalty can actually be like garnished or forced by fear. But you can't use fear to make someone really respect you, because at the end of the day, that disrespect will have to make choices and decisions that can impact you negatively.
Mr. Maybank, question. For a student athlete that's high school that's looking to take the next step, are there any universities or schools locally that you kind of would favor for someone that's looking to excel in track?
Hold on, let the kids look at the middle while I ask you a question. So you guys can pass it down the line. So,
that really depends as far as the school. I'll answer your question with a story. So, when I was recruited to go to college, I went to many different schools. And the one school that stands out, the only reason that the University of Iowa stood out is based on how I felt with the school as a community, as a whole, like a family. So chicken. It's better now?
yes.
Great. I picked the school because it gave me a feeling of comfort, family, support. And I chose University of Iowa because the coach who recruited me, his name is Ted Newton. He made me feel that it's impossible for me to fail and not get a degree. That is extremely important to me. So each time you're thinking about what school you would go to, it's not because that school is winning national titles. It's not because that school is like great at one sport where you just want to be there to support that team. But it's more because how you feel when you go to that school. When I went to Iowa and I went in for my first day, I was greeted by dean of the college, support staff, a list of different tutors, and different people from every major that I was interested in. And from that moment, I knew based